These keep alive messages are implemented as DNP3 data link layer status request. You want to see whether it's connected, not connected, sending, receiving, etc. All the status requests can be implemented using keep alive. If a response is not received to a keep alive message, the connection is deemed broken. I mean, if you don't get any message or any response, and we can say that it's broken. If and appropriate action is taken, why it is broken, how can it can be recovered and all. Okay. And this deployments of this legacy industrial protocols, I told you about DNP3 and the SCADA protocols, and modern IP networks call for flexibility when integrating several generations of devices or operations that are tied to various releases and versions of the application servers. See, every day there is a new version is being produced by the different companies. It might be protocol, device, operating system, or anything. So as every day evolution is there in every field, in our operating software or hardware, then we must need to think about flexibility for integrating with the new also. So this DNP3 and SCADA does that. Transport of the original serial protocol or IP can be achieved either by tunneling using raw sockets. I think this word you might have heard in the CN1 and CN2 where tunneling is a concept. Okay, so we need to send, okay, or TCP or UDP by installing an intermediate device that performs protocol translation between the serial protocol version and its implementations. And what we used a raw socket connection here. The raw socket connection simply denotes the serial data is being packaged directly into a TCP or UDP transport, because you are going to data, I mean connection has to be established. The serial data is being packaged. The socket is, I think socketing word you might have heard already. Okay, it's a kind of programming where you need to first listen, connect, disconnect, then send and receive, which we use socketing, all those things. It's an instance is a standard application programming interface. We know it's an API composed of an IP address and a TCP or UDP port that is used to access network devices over an IP network. Definitely you want to connect, so that socket address you require. The socket address consists of IP address and a TCP or UDP port number. We can see in the diagram here. That's how the tunneling legacy SCADA or IP networks is going to happen. Raw socket between routers, no change on SCADA server. So you can observe here with the various raw socket, master and client setup on routers. Here we have, and these are the serial interfaces which they're going to transmit the data. Okay, we have left it with another 10 minutes. It's showing now. This diagram explains you how this raw socket connection is established. And see here, this is another diagram. It shows you raw socket TCP or UDP scenarios. Okay, where we had here we use serial interfaces. You can observe in this diagram we are using Ethernet, where it's combination of ports mapped to IP or TCP, UDP. Either of the TCP or UDP we are going to use here. This is going to use again raw socket TCP UDP scenarios for legacy industrial serial protocols. Okay, almost. Yes, here also we do the same thing. Raw socket master client setup between the routers. Okay. So what we can understand from all the scenarios that routers connect via serial interfaces. That's the important thing to the remote terminal units, which we used RTUs. You can see here RTUs, remote terminal units, which are often associated with the SCADA because they're going to be used by SCADA only. This RTU, what we call it as a remote terminal unit, is a multi-purpose device used to monitor and control various systems, applications, and devices managing automation. I told you already, I'm repeating the word, mainly SCADAs are used to monitor and control, and we use this RTUs in the SCADA. So these RTUs are acts as a slaves. So we said already master slave concept. Opposite to the RTUs in each figure, we have seen SCADA server or a master. One master, rest of the will become RTU slaves. Okay. In tunneling, which we use already, that is for direct serial connections to the respective routers. Okay. So what exactly it is? A piece of software that is installed in the SCADA server that maps the serial communication COM ports to the IP ports. You want to map the serial COM ports to the IP ports For that, we use this tunneling concept. It's a small change. Okay. And the software is commonly referred to as an IP serial redirector. It's a part of your SCADA server side, which we use in this particular SCADA RTUs. This IP, what we call it as a serial redirector, is in essence terminates the serial connections of the SCADA server and converts it into a TCP bar IP port using a raw circuit connections. It's going to connect from serial connections to the TCP IP port using a raw circuit connections. It's most important. It happens inside automatically. In this diagram only can understand that. Okay, it does that. Serial interfaces are going to convert into this TCP IP based connections using what we use using raw circuit connections. Okay, I think we had seen scenario C that are explaining the same thing what I have told you. Yes, they're continuing with the same raw circuit connections. Alternative to these raw circuit connections, we are going to use serial data across an IP network. It's called as protocol translations, which we use. So this protocol translation, it's again a legacy serial protocol that is translate to a corresponding IP versions. I mean, whichever IP versions you are using, it's going to translate that. This is called as SCADA protocol translation. So this protocol translation function that enables communication between the RTUs and servers. So remote terminal units, what we have, that slaves between the servers. We want to establish or enable a communication. For that, we use this protocol translations. Despite the fact that serial connection is present on one side and IP connection is used on another side. I mean, because we need serial connection from the devices where you want to read, and for transmitting those value which you received from serial connections to other applications, then we use IP connection for it. And definitely we use gateway connected to the RTUs. We need definitely we can see here we have that we have seen in the diagram only. Okay. We use some computing resources on IoT gateways, or we call it the routers. Definitely routers are mainly meant for that purpose only, for establishing connections. Okay, or you can use either case. You can use fog computing, which I told you already, nothing but a cloud based. So here we see that data SCADA protocol, translations. You can observe here master 1, master 2. Here we have this TNA IP3 protocols. These are called as RTUs, I mean slaves, which we call them as. This is a database, and with various gateways or routers, and this translations will take place automatically, which I told you, because you need to send the data from serial connections, which get converts into IP connections. Just now I told you. Yeah, here it is there. This is used to which terminates the serial connection of the SCADA server and converts it into the TCP IP using a raw socket connections. And in the translations also I told you, yeah, we are using serial data across an IP, which called as legacy serial protocol. Here, two serially connected DNP3 RTUs, that's remote terminal units, and two masters applications we can see in the diagram. They are mainly used to perform what? Protocol translation. Here it is there. Yes, it enables the communication between RTUs and servers. So here we use one side what? The serial connection, other side IP connections, that you can observe in this diagram only. Okay. So now this SCADA transport over LLNs, which we can call lossy networks. Okay, low power lossy networks. That's called as LLNs, low power lossy networks with MAP-T. So due to the constrained nature of these LLNs, because LLNs itself they have a constrained nature like about power and bandwidth and etc. The implementation of the industrial protocol should at a minimum done over UDP. I mean, we use here UDP for that purpose only. So it inter requires both the application servers and devices support and implement UDP. They can definitely both the applications at the server side and the devices side. They must support UDP protocol. If they don't support, we cannot send. For long-term evolution of SCADA, other legacy industrial protocols which we need to apply for IPv6, but most of the industrial devices supporting IP, which we currently use is IPv4 only. I think most of them, IPv6 currently we are evolving for the new devices and all. So when we deploy our LLM subnetworks for IPv6, which we use, we can see this transition mechanism such as MAP-T, that is mapping of address and port using translation. That stands for MAP, mapping of address and port using translation T. For they use for RFC 7599. This needs to be implemented if you are using IPv6 only. Okay. So we can see in the diagram afterwards this legacy endpoint which is used to connect across LLN running with, because LLNs mainly used for IPv6 LOWPAN, that is low power wireless private area networks, to an IP capable SCADA servers. So as you use IPv6, we need a 6 low double pan and DNP3 Modbus, whatever we use the endpoints for using in industry by SCADA protocols. Then we need to think about all those things. Okay, this is what we call as a 6 IPv6 LoWPAN. It's a standardized protocol designed for constraint, mainly for constraint networks. It only supports IPv6, that we should know that. Here the end devices and endpoints and the SCADA server support only IPv4, but the network which we are using in the middle, it supports IPv6. See, in the same network we have both protocols V4 and V6. So for these SCADA endpoints and devices, we use IPv4, but the network which we are transmitting, I mean the middle, which we use IPv6. So for this category, how we can merge the, I mean, get the data from the different versions of the IPs. The solution to this problem is to use protocol known as MAPT. Now this MAPT is used. It makes the appropriate mappings between V4 and V6, because you need to map the format V4 getting data for devices and endpoints is different, and the middle which we use IPv6 is different. So you need to map these two. We use what we use MAPT. That's called as which is a bridge between V4 and V6.